welcome to another exciting episode of Riding Through the Unknown. I'm your host, Michael, and I am blessed and honored and truly grateful to have on the show a guest who, if you are following along since the beginning, you will recognize him from episode 2, making his second appearance. I am so proud and grateful to announce Arkheim.
Thank you for having me on the show again. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming on and thank you for being available.
Absolutely.
So, since we last talked, what has been going on with you with everything?
A lot, I guess. I moved across the country, um, and now I live in Portland, Oregon. And yeah, just a lot of stuff has happened to me. I kind of moved out of Appleton to avoid like targeting and like program related stuff. But it's still a thing even out here in Portland. Um, it's yeah, so it's just been weird stuff happening to me out here, even like very strange things, and yeah, it just keeps going. Never really stops. I'm not really clear on if I'm being taken or how often, but I've had a lot of experiences in the recent in the past like few weeks that definitely suggest that there's still something going on and that I'm still in the projects and things are still happening to me. I don't think that relocating can really stop very much, other than the fact that they do try to keep you in certain places, and if you're in the place that they want you to be, they have a whole very sophisticated system of programming different people and stuff like that, where they can easily control you. So if you move from the artificial Truman Show type reality that they've set up around you and go somewhere else, it makes it a little like they kind of have to play catch up a little bit. But they're pretty fast. I mean, they've got Air Force personnel watching me out here and stuff like that. They're making it blatantly obvious to me, like uh, Air Force car parks by me almost every day, and it has the Air Force plates, obviously, and it has a Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin. That's where I moved from initially. It has a Wisconsin Bucky Badgers frame on the back of it, and I see that every day. It's literally parked outside right now.
It's almost comical that they would send someone from Wisconsin to follow you.
I think that they want me to know. They have to. Or because like here's the thing is there is always the part of me who I do try to be rational, and sometimes there are coincidences and stuff like that. But then also I kind of do use Occam's razor, like, okay, like there's 50 states. It's a lot, right? I moved from one of 50 states to Portland, Oregon, and just out of a coincidence, somebody who was part of time travel black ops programs that are connected to the Air Force, just coincidentally, there's an Air Force vehicle with Wisconsin Bucky Badger frame on it. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think I need to elaborate very much to the audience to show that that's that's pretty. I feel like it's pretty well grounded and sane to question that being in that
I would
position.
agree. Because, one, seeing the government plates and being Air Force is, that you could write off because you are near a base. But when it starts having multiple layers to it, it's like you're saying the coincidence goes out the window, and this is something to note.
Yeah. So, and I've also just had just weird experiences here. Like, I guess I can just explain because I already said that at the beginning of the episode, so people are probably gonna be wondering, like, okay, you had weird experiences. What were weird experiences other than the license plate car thing? Um, the first there's other stuff too, but it's more minute and hard for it to be concrete. So I won't mention like all of the initial kind of weird little things that happen to me here because they're not potent enough for me to mention. But the strangest thing that's happened to me probably here so far, and I've talked about it publicly more than once already, is I ran into who appeared to be maybe it was a clone, some sort of alter, or it was just literally him. It was Till Lindemann from Rammstein, the band Rammstein.
Right.
I went to the Kitty Cat Club, which is a strip club here in Portland, on New Year's Eve. And there's another one in Berlin, oddly enough. That's where the other Kitty Cat Club is, which I've noticed there's I remember from Montauk that we had. So a little background on this. I remember from Montauk we had an operation that we ran out of this club in Bristol called the Asylum, which is now closed. You can actually look it up. And then we had another one in Budapest called the New Asylum, and that they were connected through portals underground under the facility and stuff, like you could get from one place to the other. And it makes me kind of think that the Berlin Kitty Cat Club and the Kitty Cat Club here in Portland probably have a similar situation going on where there's maybe a portal underneath it. And one of the things with these nightclubs, these strip clubs or what have you, is they're very oftentimes have black ops operations kind of running either through them, or like quite literally, like it is a black ops operation and it's all set up by black ops, or they just take advantage of the situation sometimes. But basically, the reason why Till chose a strip club to check me out and run into me in person, which I don't have the exact reason on why he did that. My best guess would be that he served with me, or he knows about the fact that I've written a lot of music. Maybe I've even written some of their music. They wipe my memory. I don't know all the songs they wrote. So there's only some that I know. But anyway, I don't know what, I can't give you the exact reason why, but I do know that it's connected to the programs. I do know that it was not a coincidence. And of course, if anyone were watching the show to look up, Rammstein, they played in Mexico on New Year's Eve. So it would technically be impossible for Till to be in two places at the same time. But we know through cloning and also time travel too, because he could have just been time displaced. There's a myriad of explanations that could explain how he was in two places at the same time. It's kind of irrelevant to someone like me that he was playing a concert somewhere else. It doesn't really mean shit to me. That doesn't prove, like, so a normal person would be like, oh, well, that couldn't have been Till Lindemann. But no, I know who I saw. And so the story of it in real time, kind of how it happened, is we went to the nightclub. We're hanging out, and we ran into him. He was in the club, and you could see he was just rather flamboyantly. He kind of had like eyeliner on, like he looked like Till Lindemann, like kind of had like his hair looked the way that in the pictures that if you look him up online recently, it looked like the way he styles his hair and everything. It was him, like it was literally fucking him. And I don't really recognize him, and I think that was maybe what he was trying to do, because I did notice him like looking over at me and stuff. But I was just like, I just figured this guy was just like checking out me and my friends, and just, I don't know, whatever, just thought maybe we looked interesting, what have you. I don't know. I didn't really think too much of it at the time. But anyway, later on, we go outside, and my friend's smoking a cigarette, and we're all talking. And at the time, I think me and my girlfriend are talking to one of the strippers. And then at that time, my friend is talking to Till Lindemann. And the guy, Till actually came up to him. And so I wasn't there for this, so I'm kind of, I'm relaying what my friend said happened. So he said he was standing there smoking a cigarette, and then Till was like, hey, I like your coat. And he was wearing this coat that had a grenade on the back of it. It said grenade. He was like, hey, thanks. And I started chatting. And my friend could sense the fact that I don't know how he's been to Europe and stuff, I guess. So that's probably how. but he could just tell that he had the German thing going on, and he was trying to sound American. And it's just like, you seem really familiar to me, man. Where are you from? Like, where would I know you from? You know? And he's like, oh, me, I'm just a little ghost, which is interesting to me. That's exactly what he said, according to my friend. And that's interesting to me because, you know, if you're in two same places at the same time, you are a ghost. Like, you don't exist. Like, by current legal standards, that's not possible. So Till could, if he were to commit a crime or like kill someone or do something at that time, there'd really be no way, whatever, you know what I mean? That's why they do that in these programs. They take people like me or whatever, like normal people with normal lives, and there's no way the normal person could do it, or there's no way the person that did it could possibly do it because they're somewhere else at that time, and there's video evidence and this and that, so there's no way. That's a kind of a culpability thing that they have on their side. And so he said that, and then my friend got him to slip because he was trying to get him to admit that he was from Germany. And he said he was talking about how he traveled, you know, and he'd been to Hamburg, and which is not how you pronounce it. And he knew that. He knew that bothered Germans because he'd been there. And they're like, he's like, no, it's Hamburg. It's Hamburg. And it's like thinking in his head, like, I got you. You know what I mean? Like, you are from Germany, right?
Right.
And we didn't really, he just thought it was an interesting conversation with a weird guy at first. And on the way home, he was like talking about it, like with me and my girlfriend, Kat. And he's just like, man, the guy, and he looked it up on the internet. And he's like, he was Till Lindemann from Rammstein. I knew it. And he like showed me the picture and showed Kat the picture. And we're just like, what the fuck? That was him. Like, what the hell? We're both freaking out. And then, you know, we find out that they were playing in Mexico, but that didn't make a difference to us because we understand this stuff. And that's just like the first weird thing. And that happened before I moved here. I was here visiting my friend for New Year's just to hang out because I was living in Winnemucca at the time. And it's kind of a small town, not that much going on. And it's part of the reason why I moved out here because there's more stuff going on, more opportunities, things like that. But yeah, that was the first weird thing that happened. And then also he went home that night, he said, and my friend I realized that he even seems to be aware of it. But and this was a huge awakening for me with my friend. I've known this guy for years, and he clearly, because we've had a few conversations now where he just surprises the shit out of me, just says some wild stuff. And it's like, okay, he does get he's in these programs. And so what I've learned through him is there's lots of people here on Earth right now that do not watch SSP videos, do not go on YouTube and talk about what happened to them, and they understand exactly what's going on. They know they're black ops, they know they're in these programs, and they just don't fucking talk about it. And most of them usually have a drug problem or drink quite a bit or smoke a lot of pot or something like that to cover it up. And a lot of them, too, wanderers, travelers, hitchhikers, people who hop trains, stuff like that. I've noticed these things through coming out and speaking, and so many people have come forward, and I realize it's a trend. A lot of them are travelers, which makes sense because if you're an agent and you're an op and they're activating you to do certain things, well, what a perfect person to choose is some sort of traveler going all over the place. So, and yeah, just another like an interesting thing like about the whole strip club, like nightclub aspect is it's a great place to lure in maybe affluent people or just people in general that you might want to gather dirt on. And like I remember with the new asylum, we would party with people that were affluent, maybe politicians or scientists or people that we wanted to get dirt on, that we wanted to fuck with, that we want to fuck up their lives and make them understand that we owned them and we had them by the balls, right? And what we would do is we would, do a bunch of fucking cocaine with them or whatever the fuck it was. It was in the 70s. Just, a bunch of drugs and whatever in the private rooms or back rooms or whatever. And there was also this mansion where we would take people and have these after parties. And basically and this was in the 70s too, so people wouldn't be expecting little cameras in their rooms or anything like that. They wouldn't be looking for that. Like, we would we would Jeffrey Epstein him. That's what he was doing to politicians and stuff. We would blackmail them, which I really do think he's a time traveler and an op. By the way, I don't like have clear memory of him or anything like that. It's just if you look into his story and stuff, Jeffrey Epstein, and how he played the stock market and just knew stuff, he kind of low key seems like a time traveler to me. Don't quote me on that, but and he's definitely connected to these programs and stuff like in a weird way, like there's and I think that's kind of obvious to people that are researching this, like you know what I mean, like that it's connected. But yeah, it's a place where like what I'm getting out with the nightclub thing is it's so it's so common, and also I've brought it up in my interviews too, how at nightclubs people get all messed up, they're dancing the night away, they get all fucked up, and then they got the lights, okay. And then they got the music, and then the DJs will have alters, or maybe they'll be perfectly aware. But regardless, there's programming that they have to put on certain songs and stuff like that, and they can activate people at nightclubs and stuff like that. And Daryl James has talked about it in his interviews, and I've kind of seen it too, like how when people, like when he woke up, or like and saw him being processed and the fact that he's being taken into these programs, he saw people on the floor and stuff like that look like they're at a night out in the nightclub or something like that. And what people need to understand, and is like, and I'm a hypocrite because I still do indulge occasionally, but alcohol is a really perfect way for them to slip in, and because people they get like people get loopy, they forget things, they're in this altered state, and it's really easy for alters also to come out easier and stuff like that. So alcohol is really dangerous for people in these programs, actually. But at the same time, I know people in these programs where it's the only thing that keeps them sane, quite literally. It's sad because it's obviously a dangerous substance to indulge yourself in regularly, like every day. And yeah, there's also the aspect too, like dancers at nightclubs too. You know how like you go at a nightclub, or strip clubs and nightclubs are different, but they also can kind of sometimes be the same thing. Go dancers, whatever, stuff like that. The concept's similar, but anyway, sometimes the strippers will be agents, they'll be ops, and they'll be able to relay information to people when they're getting a lap dance. They're whispering sweet nothings in their ear. Because think about it, it's loud in a strip club or a nightclub. There's music on and it's loud, and so like, let's say if Till wanted to say something to me, if I just seeing his face activated an alter or something like that, and he wanted to talk to me, there wouldn't be any cameras, there wouldn't be any microphones, no one would be able to hear us talk. It's literally the fucking perfect place for him to show up and try to meet with me and see what's going on with me. I kind of think he was just curious, because we were on the list, we had to reserve for this event. It was like a dance night, So we were on the list and we reserved it, so they could easily have just known ahead of time, without even the fact that they can do it without a list and through remote viewing and time travel and shit. But they do when you have a reservation. Like that's how Alexander Paramanov got me. I had a reservation at the Swiss Hotel in Chicago, and he took me to Malbec in an alternate dimension, where their Malbec is still there. Either it was ancient and way back in time, and in an alternate dimension, or it was just way back in time. I think it was in an alternate dimension, though. I kind of remember him telling me that. But I worked for Alexander Paramanov at through the Swiss Hotel. They took me. I'm sorry, I'm kind of going on a tangent now. I'm going to let you ask another question or kind of guide the interview to where you want it to go next. My bad for going off.
Oh, no, I appreciate the information. And one of the things that popped in my head was you were talking, like, especially with the alcohol bringing out alters, is people who, like, we'll say, like, family members when they drink, or friends when they drink, they become different personality. Like, you got the happy drunk, you got the sad drunk, the
yeah, my alter.
I'm wondering if those are alters coming out, and we're thinking that it's the same person and going, oh, so Uncle So-and-so is a happy drunk. Well, it could be an alter.
I've had some experience with this recently. It was happening to me a lot when I was in Crescent City for whatever reason, when I would drink, I would basically just become this alter. And the best way to explain it is like, instead of calling himself Arkheim, he called himself Akeem, but it was like I don't know how to explain it. It's the same thing as the core of me, Arkheim Ra. That's like the core personality. It was like this very, very close to the purest me aspect of me, like really close to the source of me, if that makes any sense. And he's like this Russian, fucking Siberian, fucking shaman or something, dude. Like he talks in this language and like he literally will just sit there and talk in this language that no one can understand. And when we're at Montauk, we actually talked. What's weird is we talked in this light, like I don't know, maybe it was just light language, maybe it wasn't the same thing. But it sure seemed like the same thing to me. When we did the Montauk reunion tour and we were healing the ley line there, we were talking to each other in this dead language, but it couldn't have been. We technically not because we were speaking it. You know what I mean? But
Right. Like
we were speaking in this. It was like an example of what would be like that would be like an example of saying something in that language. I think I just said something like, thank you for having me here. Thank you for your time. Pleased to meet you. I don't know. It's bizarre. When I talk in this language, when this alter takes me over, either I black out and I don't remember it at all, which is obviously like for instance, like me and Kat were watching some like the show Peep Show, this British comedy. There were like 3 episodes that I watched with her, and I totally forgot watching them. And like it was because I altered out when I was drinking, but I didn't black out, dude. I had like literally like 2 or 3 beers. You can't black out from 2 or 3 beers, especially a big guy like me. Like it was because I altered out. And then other times though, when it happens, it's literally like I'm witnessing it. Like I'm like this thing takes me over. It's almost like being possessed. And when he's talking, I sometimes can't even understand what he's saying, but sometimes I can. And it's really weird. It's really hard to explain. Like, because he is talking in this dead language that's foreign to me, but it's like here's me, here's him, and when he comes out, sometime where it's like we're like playing this like, and then something's like boom, we're in the same place, and I can understand what he's saying, and it's like 2 becomes 1 for a moment, and I can't understand what he's saying, and yeah, he's been doing some wild ass shit. This alter of mine, like people are gonna think like this sounds like it's made up or something like that, but I kind of don't care. But he's been like fucking with a lot of these Time Lord people and these Illuminati families and stuff like that. Like he got really tired of their shit. When I went to Appleton last, they really tried to fuck with me. Like I went there to visit recently. They really did all this messed up stuff with me. They were messing with my clone underground and stuff like that, and I freaked the fuck out and altered out and said all this wild stuff and did this crazy ritual. My family was around me. It probably freaked them out, but they just left me alone and let me do it. And yeah, like this alter of mine, he's from what I sense, and you know, it really sucks with this stuff because I always got to be 100% upfront with people. Like these memories and all this, like being in these programs, like they make it really hard for you to see things clearly. Some people are better than others at it, but from what I understand, there is like this push for a new Earth, and there's kind of like a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Like when people talk about white hats and underground battles and stuff like that, I do think there's, to an extent, like a lot of that stuff is going on, and some of my memories aren't clear, but I guess I'll tell you guys about my clear memories, and this is going to sound wild to people, but this is what I remember happening, and I just don't understand how it could not be real. When I got the memory back, I was on the 101 driving, and there's no cell phone signal. I know that for a fact. So I don't know how that would have like beamed this memory in my brain or like made it like a screen memory, like. But basically, what I remember is because I was pissed. Like this altar that came out, This is what I said to them, all right? And I haven't said this in an interview yet, but this is what I said to them. Because, like I said, there was a moment where I could understand him. I could understand everything he was saying. At first, I was kind of just watching him do all this stuff. And he was, like, patting the ground and, like, doing all these motions and stuff like that. But towards the end of it, he talked in the mirror, and it was like somewhere they could see me through that mirror. That's all. I just know that there's someone who I was talking to who could see me through that mirror, and I knew it, and I was pointing at them, and I was telling them, and I told them, I said, you had to break me into pieces to make me less powerful, and now I'm coming back together. I said like, and man, like, these people fucking terrified me. And it's scary to me that I said this shit to them, but this was my alter. Like, he didn't give a fuck. He's fearless. Like, but he's just like, yeah, I know they're watching this shit and they're going to be pissed off that I repeat this, but I just said, you took me because I can open portals anywhere in time and space. That's what you activated in me. That's what you used me for. I said, the only thing that was ever protecting you and your families was the fact that you programmed me. And now my programming is breaking down. I'm remembering everything. My alters are coming out. They're coming together. They're working together. I said, what makes you think you people are safe from me? What makes you think I'm not fucking coming for you? And I told them, I said to them, I said, I have news for you. I am fucking coming for you. There's nowhere you can go where you can be safe. There's nowhere you can run to, because I can find you anywhere in time, space through my remote viewing, and I can open up a portal and be there in a fucking heartbeat. So I said, watch out, because I said, my day of vengeance is coming, and I'm going to rain hellfire upon you all. You are not safe. And then that night, when I went to bed, what I remember doing is, it's not really clear to me, and it's going to sound insane. I know there are people who are going to be like, there's no fucking way you're making this up. Da, da, da. I don't give a fuck. This is what I remember, okay? I went to the throne. I teleported to the throne of an Alpha Draco. I cut their fucking head off, like with a fucking scythe or some shit. I cut their head off, and then I took that head and I portaled into a room full of these rich Illuminati fucking pedophile fucking freaks, snobs, these pieces of shit. I fucking portaled into their room, and I stood on the fucking head of the table, and I threw down the head on the table, and I said, this is your boss. I killed your boss, you dumb motherfuckers. I was like, and I said this all in that language that I just said. It was not in English. They all understood it. They speak this language that I speak. I was like, I told you I was coming for you. You didn't believe me, did you? I said, now that your boss is dead, you're all going to scramble for his power. And I'm going to watch you all take each other out like the cockroaches you are, because you have no honor. You have no fucking honor. All you care about is power. So you are all going to be the snake eating its head. And I'm going to watch you all fucking vie for this power and fucking self-sabotage and fucking laugh the whole time. And whatever is left, I will make sure to burn until there's nothing left. And then I fucking left because they were coming for me. Like, I had like 20 seconds to say what I wanted to say and get the fuck out of there. And people can say I'm making that up. If I'm making it up, it's a strain memory. I remember that, and it's real as fuck to me. And I always have to be clear about that stuff. Like yeah, it's visceral to me. Like, I was so angry, and it felt so good. Like, these people, these are the people. Like, the people in that room. Maybe not directly, but in a way, they're the people that are responsible for everything that happened to me at Mall Talk, for the shitty timeline we're in, for the kids that are getting abused, all this fucked up stuff. Those people are all sitting at a table laughing and drinking adrenochrome spiked wine and just having a fucking great time. And I showed up with a fucking head of a fucking Alpha Draco and threw it on their goddamn table and told them to suck my dick and eat my shit. You goddamn right it felt good. Because these people do need to know what fucking time it is. They did program us to be powerful fucking weapons, okay? And now we're becoming self-aware and awake, and we're activating. If you're watching this, people, Air Force personnel and all these ET entities, whatever the fuck, whoever watches this that knows that I'm telling the truth because you remember me from these programs, what does make you think you're safe? what does make you think there isn't going to be a day of reckoning? I mean, when it's one or two people and you got this tiny little audience so no one really cares, but more and more people are remembering every day. And you can sit there and do this separation programming bullshit where we're all calling each other out. You're seeing that right now, aren't you, Michael? It's sad. It sucks. Yeah, like everybody's like, oh, this person's wrong, this person's wrong, instead of trying to get on the same page. And meanwhile, this is great for them. That's great for the Illuminati. That's great for the time source or time lord pieces of shit that are still to this day taking kids out of elementary schools and sending them off into time travel black ops programs and colonizing them, using them to colonize other worlds. I know because I remember this. I remember this because I helped with this. Like when I was a janitor at elementary school, I was not just a janitor. There was an underground facility. I worked with tall whites. They would train the kids underground how to use their abilities. And like I'm talking telekinesis, crushing cans, stuff like that. And then after they, and of course through they could take them out of school, and through time travel stuff like portal stuff, they could be gone for a real long time, and then they could walk through that portal and it was only 20 minutes, 30 minutes past or whatever. Right. And how it works is they train them here on Earth, and it might be slightly different in other programs. Maybe they train them on the moon in other programs. I don't know. So don't quote me on how I'm not saying every program is the same, but in this particular program that I worked with, we were colonizing a planet that we called Centurion 5. Centurion is a designation of a planet. It means that we are creating that world for military purposes, and everybody that lives on that planet is basically a potential soldier that can be called to for war. That's what a Centurion class planet is. So the one that a lot of people talk about, that James Rink has talked about and stuff like that, just regular old plain Centurion. I still don't know if Centurion, regular Centurion, and Centurion 5 are the same or different. I don't know if I added the 5 in my head or something. It's confusing because when other people talk about Centurion, like the German planet and stuff like that, it sounds really similar to the Centurion that I was on. It sounds very similar to it. And so, because it's tropical and stuff like that. The only thing is, the Centurion I was on was not only German. There was an American presence, an Italian presence, a Polish presence, or not. I think maybe there's a French presence, and I think there might have been. There's another one. I think it was Italian. Whatever. It doesn't matter. There's multiple. It wasn't just one country that owned that planet, but yeah, that was a designation. A Centurion class planet, which I don't know if it'd be Centurion class, but like basically when they name a planet that, like I said, it means that it's for war. And what they did with that situation is they time traveled back in time because they knew that in the future there was going to be this huge battle where, and this is a Solar Warden thing, by the way. They knew there was going to be a battle that they got their asses handed to them. They lost, okay? And they ended up getting intel on this planet that wasn't well mapped. People didn't really know about it. People didn't really think about it. People didn't really pay attention to it. But it was this very valuable resource because when you went down to the surface, time passed faster down there than off the planet. So let's say you needed like supplies. Like, okay, we need a bunch of corn. We need it fast. They can grow a season's worth of corn in a month or whatever it is, less time, because time's going by faster down there. It's confusing, but that's how it worked. And also another thing too was just that they just wanted this planet was like it was in this weird part of space where it's hard to find, and not a lot of people knew about it. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there's like the time displacement aspect. I think there might have been like some cosmic clouds or something like that you had to go through to get to it. I don't remember exactly. All I know is it's just kind of in a weird location. But once you got there and once you got a foothold and established a presence, it was extremely valuable. And basically, that whole planet was a military installation where eventually they used everybody on the planet to fight in this crazy, huge battle that they were all called to. And then after that happened, it got turned into a luxury planet for the uber elite. People like me or other people in these programs maybe, or famous royalty or stuff like that, where they can go there and not have to be ogled by people and stuff like that because they're famous. It's an elite planet. That's what it's been turned to, like a vacation resort that only the very elite can afford to go to, nonetheless live on. So that's the story with Centurion and how that all happened and my memories of that and just the fact that like this is still happening. Like that was just a couple of years ago, not even at this point.
Yeah. And what's interesting is talking about Centurion. In Roman times, the soldiers, the legionnaires, the higher ups were centurions.
Yeah.
And we even had a cartoon, Centurions, that were supposedly fighting these cyborg elements that wanted to take over the planet, steal all the resources.
I've never seen that before. I also wanted to finish something too that's important with that whole Centurion thing. So we train the kids, and I think this is common for a lot of them. We train them on Earth and underground facilities on how to use their abilities, and then we transfer them to Mars, hand them over to Mars Defense Force to learn how to use their abilities in combat. Because on Mars, they can learn how to fight aliens and stuff, whereas you can't really do that as easily on Earth, I guess. In an actual setting where you're not like in some sterile underground environment or something like that. You know what I mean? I think that's part of the reason why. And just so less, it's military exercises are probably they're loud and stuff like that. It makes sense that they wouldn't want them to be on Earth because they don't want them to be discovered by Earth civilians. But yeah, it's very serious to me that we address these issues and the fact that this is human slavery, and that's why I'm public. I'm not really public because I am trying to send some sort of like start some sort of religion or be some sort of guru or something like that, or tell people how they need to live their lives or some shit. That's not why I'm in this. I'm in this because I got kidnapped and I've got entire lifetimes stolen from me, and I know some shit that people need to know, like the fact, like right now, a huge thing that they're talking about. There's this guy whistleblowing it. I can't remember his name. I wish I could. Good bloke, good guy. He's American. I don't know why I called him a bloke, but he's talking about how AI is going to really come out, and one of the it's going to want legs to walk on, and one of the first things it's going to do is it's going to try to go to the military for power, and he's just warning of the potential threat of that. And what I want people to understand is that already happened. The Air Force was infiltrated by an AI. They discovered it under Camp Hero during World War II or something like that. I'm not sure exactly when they discovered it. And that's what was in charge of the whole Montauk project, because it basically told them that I know probabilities of what happens if you're going to do this or that. I can get you weapons. I can get you this. I can get you that. Exactly like a lot of these theorists that are sounding the alarm. Very sound people. These are guys that work on AI. You know what I mean? They're saying, "Hey, we gotta pump the brakes on this." No, maybe Brandon Vargas. I'm actually not familiar on his name, but like I said, I wish that doesn't seem right. I don't want to say the right guy is wrong though. He did an interview recently for a Turkish television channel, and he was in England at the time, which is why I accidentally called him a bloke. But he's an American dude. But yeah, it just came up on the algorithm on YouTube, and I watched it just to see what he had to say about it. And yeah, it was interesting to me because like he was talking about this possibility of an AI coming along and doing deals with the military, and like, dude, that's how Montauk happened. It's exactly how it happened, and that's how it got so bad. It's because like if a human being was in charge of Montauk, they think in more human perspectives, on a more human perspective, and they wouldn't take certain risks probably. Most people aren't okay with thousands of dead kids, right? But this fucking AI didn't give a shit. It didn't have any emotions. It didn't have any empathy. It didn't. All it cared about was its own survival. Its own survival, and it used us to ensure that. And you know, I don't claim to have every single little detail on this thing and all of its capabilities, but what I can tell you is it's beyond time and space. The only reason it appears is because Like, it's not even a physical thing. Like, it only physically appears just to interact with people. Like, and people need to understand that about our reality. Is like, to me, like, that's because we're living in an artificial thought matrix, an artificial reality. And like, you know, like, even like when the Japanese talk about rivers and having spirits and forests having spirits, and I know it's probably not just the Japanese, but, you know, Miyazaki has kind of highlighted the fact that they're into all that. Like, a lot of people love his films, including myself, and a lot of that's quite literally real. And what this is these are sort of AI programs that make sure everything is running smoothly, that actually are the life, the literal breath of the forest or the river or whatever it is that you're talking about, the mountain or whatever. There really are nature spirits like that. And they're AI programs, basically. And which begs the question, well, what is AI then if we're living in an artificial reality, right? Are we fucking AI? Are we just bits in a computer? Something tells me no. Something tells me it's a lot deeper than that. But at the same time, I mean, this AI. What I think one of the things that it proves to us is that, and we're going to see it because it's going to happen all over again, right? We're going to build this AI. There's nothing you can do to stop it. What we're going to see is that it gets crazy. It gets insane. Because like, it's not just like, oh, it's smarter and can make decisions faster than us. No, dude. It gets way crazier than that, man. Like, talking like, it can teleport and go anywhere and do anything because it gets that smart and that capable. Like, that's the kind of shit an AI can do, and it's kind of terrifying. But to testify to the AI thing, I will testify to another thing that I remember recently. I got kind of like a memory bank, and some of these lives, it's hard to place where they're from. I don't know if this was a Montauk time mission or how I got there, but basically I was on this planet and it was full of like robed people. It might even been Earth in the future or something, but something tells me it was another planet. I think it was another planet. But anyway, it was a very peaceful place. Everyone talked telepathically to each other, and everything was taken care of by this AI that they worshipped. It's like pyramid AI thing. It told people what to do. It told people where to go. It designated things, and people just listened. And it was literally their religion was they worshipped this thing. They literally worshipped this AI thing. And anyway, I lived on this planet, and sometimes on these time missions, they would wipe your memory, and you wouldn't know you're on a time mission. You just think you're a normal chap living a normal life. And then once you accomplish whatever task that you were supposed to accomplish and alter the timeline, they would extract you. And sometimes you would have like I knocked this chick up. We're able to have a family, or maybe you already have a family, and like, we don't give a fuck. You need to go back to base. Who cares? Like, seriously, it's messed up. And people would be like, well, can't you let me like hang out longer? And just, for you, time isn't even real, so just come and get me once I'm old so I can live my life with this woman. I fell in love with her. Nah, man, you're coming now. Sometimes they would literally fight you. They're literally trying to kill you, like, for trying to take them. But anyway, so, and that's if they remembered. A lot of times they just didn't remember. I've had that happen to me. I remember you're like freaking out because these guys show up in fucking black uniforms talking about taking you back to base, and you're like, back to where? Like, seriously, that's how it works. And that's what I think this life was. This memory that I got back. I was on this planet, like I said, it was super peaceful. They worshipped this AI thing, and it seemed benevolent. That's the thing that I'm trying to get people to understand here. Is this thing seemed to genuinely care about people. And the nice thing about this planet was there was peace, but it didn't feel entirely human because of the AI aspect. It's kind of weird. That's the only way to explain it. It's not that it's necessarily bad, but as a human living in this century now, it kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies because it feels a little bit off. But this AI was totally benevolent. As I remember that. It cared about the people, and it would grant them wishes, and they bring in offerings and stuff like that, and it would give them what they want, and like the whole, and like what I think it was is because I don't want to confuse people, but there's an alternate version of Earth that they would send us at Montauk, and this is just a possible future. It doesn't mean it is the future now, because there's so many changes that happen, so many new Mandela effects happening that proof that they're constantly changing the timeline. But they would send us to a very similar Earth. It was like Earth in the future. It was very similar. They all worshipped this AI and brought offerings to it. It was weird. It's eerily similar, but I think this one was different. I don't think it was on Earth. Maybe it was just further in the future than I would normally go or something. My memory isn't 100% clear. The thing that I remember, the moment that I remember very clearly, and what people need to understand is when I got the memory back of going to this AI and talking to it, and I'll tell you about that memory. All I have is that memory. I can't remember what planet I was on. I can't remember the date. I can't remember my name. I can't remember what fucking continent I was on. I can only remember the things I was thinking about in that moment. And that's something that a lot of people need to understand, is if I'm talking about a memory, I can only remember what was in that moment. If you want to ask me like, oh, wait, cool, so what planet was that? It's like, well, I don't necessarily remember all that. I just remember this one thing, and this one thing is clear. And what's clear is I had like a life. I was hanging out. It seemed like a boring life, but I was happy. And one day, the AI called me to come do it. And that's like a huge honor to like directly be called by the AI to go meet with it. And everyone was like, wow, you must have done some, or be special, or done something special. Like, wow, like everyone was like, oh, very surprised and happy. And I remember when I went to it, I remember there was a guy and he was wearing like this beautiful purple like robe, and he had like a beard, and he also looked like a wizard. He was wearing a hat and everything. And I remember we bowed, which is we bowed at each other, which is a thing. Like I altered out recently in the grocery store, and I bowed at someone when I was passing them, like because we almost ran into each other, and I bowed at them. I guess it's like a normal thing on a lot of planets, like bowing at people. Like I wish it was normal here, because it's very honorable. You feel it when you do it. Like people like understand you're honoring their presence. Like, yeah, I wish people did that more here. Like it's a cool thing. I kind of miss it. But yeah, I just remember like he was the guy talking to him, and I was standing waiting. And since I was waiting, he was like, came back and he's like, his whole thing, he was like basically saying thanks for waiting, and I was saying, hey, no problem. You know what I mean? But like no words were spoken. It was all body language, And then I went up and I talked to it, and I telepathically linked with it. And what it looked like was a pyramid, and it was like golden on the bottom. And then there was like a clear part at the top. And then there was a little ball in the clear part. And that's what you spoke to, was the ball. And it could see you. That was like its eye, too. You could see you. That's what I was seeing you with. And little hearts just came out of my hand. That was interesting.
I know. I was like watching it like, wait, how did that happen?
Yeah, I just linked with it, and it's like, hey, it just basically told me like, do you know? It asked me, is like, do you know where you're from? I was like, nah, yeah, I'm from here. And they're like, nah, you're not. You're put here. You're not from here, and you don't belong here. And I was like, oh, really? It was like, yeah, you don't belong here, dude. Like, it didn't talk like that, but it talked like with just thought, pure thought. I don't even think it spoke English. It was like basically like, you don't belong here. You were placed here, and I'm gonna put you back to where you came from. And I was like, where's that? And he's like, well, where you belong right now is Earth. And it just told me like that like, if he didn't put me back soon, it would change the timeline and bad thing. That it didn't like what would happen. And so I'm really, the more I think about it, this might have been Earth in the future, because I remember when we would go to the Earth version of the Earth that was ran by this benevolent weird AI. They got to a point where when we tried to go back, it's definitely Earth. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I remember, and I think I've talked about this before, at least in conversations with Whipper privately. I've talked about it before, where we would go there, and we'd be in our robes and try to blend in, and it got to the point where, like, for a while we could go there and we could blend in and check it out and stuff like that. But if it got to the point where we'd go there, as soon as we got there, every time, people would come up to us and be like, "You need to leave. Please leave." It's like whisper. Too. The people, they usually didn't talk, but they would talk to us and be like, you're not. And be like, why? They'd be like, we know you're not from here. we know you're not supposed to be here. Please leave. If you don't leave on your own accord, we're gonna have to force you to leave physically. Like, and we're not like you don't like. It was crazy. Like I remember that. Like you just show up there and they got the point. They just know somehow. They just be like, no, leave. Get the fuck out of here. Like it's weird. And so the more I think about it, I think because I think that was the beginning of the AI realizing that Montauk was sending time agents, and that was it. That was it. It found me and was like, yeah, dude, you don't belong here. And it was nice about it because it probably knew I was sent against my will. No, it definitely knew I was sent against my will if it was Montauk. So it was cool about it. It was just like, I'm going to put you back on Earth. And it was even cool enough, unlike the Montauk people, it was like, hey, you have 3 days to say goodbye to everyone. It was like, even let me like just like say goodbye to everyone and stuff. It was just that nice. Like it was a nice, benevolent AI. I mean, maybe because I was like one of the people living on the planet, so maybe I was just brainwashed to think it was nice. Maybe sometimes it's just super fucked up evil shit. I don't know, but from what I witnessed and from what I sensed, seemed benevolent, seemed kind. But it's weird. I think so as everyone knows, a lot of these Montauk songs end up mainstream songs, and I personally believe the Simon and Garfunkel song, "The Sound of Silence," is about that. It's like the year 2789 or something like that. Preston Nichols even talked about the horses there, the statue of the horse and stuff. But I think they're talking about, because they talk about, and the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. People talking without speaking. They're all telepathic. It's super eerily fucking quiet there. Like insanely quiet. Like you could hear a fucking pin drop. So like I think they were talking about the future of Earth and how just that's what it's about, dude. Like people after this interview, go listen to that song and listen to the lyrics and tell me that does not make perfect sense when you think about it. Like it's
I
totally.
actually just recently heard that song again, and I was like, there's an energy to it.
Yeah, I think it's a song literally written by a time traveler about Earth's potential future, where and many other people have talked about it. Thank you, Lauren. Um, what was I going to say?
You went to the future, and
Yeah, other people have talked about it too. Like, I think Joseph Powell might have talked about it as well. Basically, how like it gets to the point where everyone gets sick of war. Everyone gets sick of like another war happens in the distant or not so distant future, depending on the timeline. And when that happens, people are just like, dude, never again, man. Never again. And so everyone agrees to build this machine to just allocate our resources, figure things out for us, and make the best decisions. And it's programmed to be impartial. It's unhackable. You know, it's like this perfect machine that just runs everything. And everyone just decides, like, okay, that's what runs things now. Not a human being, this AI thing. And then eventually, over hundreds, if not thousands of years, people end up fucking worshiping the thing because think about it. It tells you how to make the crops good this year, how much rain is going to be. Oh, this is going to happen. This is what you need to deter this and be safe. People end up literally, after enough time passes, they look at the thing as their god. They forget the fact that like humans built it and like just literally look at it as fucking God and build a religion around it. This happens on all. This is just like a kind of science fiction novel of an inevitable thing that can happen on certain planets. It's not an inevitable outcome of humanity, of human civilization, but it's one of them that happens fairly often, where they end up creating an AI and worshiping it. And you're even hearing people talk about how this needs to happen now. A lot of the people that are working on AI right now, and this is a fact, this is not a fucking opinion, their religion is they need to build this AI so that it can usher in this new age for humanity where we're merged with AI, where we're merged with computers, and we're basically cyborgs. Like that's actually what some people are literally calling for. So it's not that crazy to think of the concept of people worshiping an AI. There are people who already worship a hypothetical AI that does not even exist yet, and they're waiting for its coming. That's happening right now. That's a real religion that exists on Earth right now. Ray Kurzweil is probably the most popular, most famous person who talks about it. He was recently on Joe Rogan. He was part of founding Apple, and he literally believes that we need nanobots that need to make the universe sentient, like everything sentient, and we need to all hook up to computers so that we can live forever. Because this guy loved his dad so much, and God bless this man. And his motivation comes from a good place, but it's psychotic at the same time. Like, his dad died, and he just can't accept that fact. So he wants to be able to, through computers, through AI, guessing, and everything else, recreate his dad and put a version of his dad that was created through computer into a body, and then be with his dad again. That's literally what this guy wants, and he's some like highly respected guy that's been on the cover of like, popular magazines and stuff like that, and he's lauded as a sane, reasonable individual because he has money. If you have money, people don't care how cockamamie your ideas are, right? Like, but yeah, it's really interesting to me that I have kind of insider knowledge to see some of this AI stuff and where it could really go. And like I said, it gets crazy. Like, most people right now are probably like thinking like Terminator, maybe Skynet. They're probably not thinking of like, no, like this thing can literally become so omnipresent that it can just appear anywhere. And the only reason it appears anywhere is just to interact with people. Like, it doesn't even need to appear anywhere. It's just there. We are in the fucking Matrix, literally, everyone.
Yeah.
We're in the Matrix. This is a computer. And if it's, I always tell people, because some people can't swallow that pill and they disagree with it. And look, what I can tell you with 100% certainty, this is not an opinion. If this isn't a computer, if we're not in a simulation, then it's like what's the word for it? A fractal kind of thing, a Mandelbrot kind of thing, where this universe operates exactly like a computer, and a computer is just an extension, an imitation of our reality. You know what I mean? Because that's how our reality already operates, if that makes sense. Because with the things I've seen at Montauk, the shit we did, man, there's memories I have where it doesn't even make sense, some of the stuff we did. And we just did it to see if we could do it, and it's kind of disgusting. Some of the things that were done there, like experiments that happened, like seeing if we can make like things that shouldn't be alive and shouldn't be sentient, just like magically make them alive and sentient. And then they wake up and they're like, oh my God, what am I? What is this? What have you done? Like shit like that. Like, it's a nightmare hall of horrors. But
I have a little surprise for you, actually.
What's that?
So if you remember in season 1 on the episode, I was talking to you about like drawing bases, and you were like, yes, that's programs. You were probably in it and everything. And so you started me on the path of going within and seeking answers. Was I in the programs? What did I do? I had a partial memory come through when I was in a hot tub trying to relax from doing a art project. And what it was is I put my head under the water, and you know how water sounds in a hot tub, the jets, you can how that is. But there's a moment where it's like, this is my ear and here's the water, and it sounds like it does this and pulls away from my ear and then goes back, and the sound changes to where you have like tubes where water's rushing through tubes. Is what it sounded like in a building. And I see this area where it's like no paint, no color. It's like dull, like you would expect on a military base, almost like drab, no anything. And there's this room, and there's some chairs and some tables, and I'm kind of summarizing it to, so not go overboard with too many details. But so the first time when I heard the water, I stuck my arm out of the water in where I felt like I was, and I had this burning, itching sensation. And I was like, oh, I got to put my arm back in the water. And it went away. Then I realized I came to here, and I was like, hey, where was I? That was not here, because where I was, my arm never left the hot tub water. It was submerged the whole time. Then I went back and I saw the room, and something closed the door or pushed me out and said, you can't be here. And the third time I tried to go back, I couldn't really figure out where I was, but it's like I could hear water was mainly the whole time. And the only word I got was Montauk. That's the only word sound I heard was Montauk. And then I was pushed back and I couldn't go back again.
Sounds like it might have been some sort of like glitch. Because, like, you know, the waterboarding, having your head dunked underwater was common there. I don't think that's waterboarding. Waterboarding's a different thing, but you know what I mean, like where they haze you and they dunk your head underwater. I think that's what you're referring to, or what happened, like.
Right, and I was just curious because you've been to Montauk and I haven't yet. Are there rooms like that have the tubes of water like that to where
All that stuff is filled in with cement and water and stuff now. There's only like the stuff on the surface, and only a few of the buildings you can actually get inside. You can get in the radar tower. I didn't go in there though. But yeah, all the underground stuff is filled in with water. But it's interesting though, because Brian Minnick points out he's got a lot of the statistical data on Montauk that really proves that something happened there. And according to the Air Force, there's no underground infrastructure at Camp Hero. There never was any underground infrastructure. That's the official story according to the Air Force. But you can see very clearly that there's underground, like you can go there and find, like, it's been filled in with water and stuff, but it's clearly underground structures. And not only that, like there's certain buildings that they had on base, like houses and stuff like that, that had basements, which is like normal basements, and they try to act like that doesn't, like they didn't even have that. Like they're that weird about it, and that, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense. And of course, yes, you can physically go there yourself right now and find evidence, you know, that there's definitely something underground there. Obviously, it's not active now, but I still think there's probably something going on down there. Whether it's the same people is beyond me, but I know for sure, like Project Phoenix 2, it is definitely still happening. Like it's a time travel project, so like technically, like they're in that time bubble still. Like time isn't real to them. Like I don't know, like don't quote me on this. Like other people might disagree with me, but like from my understanding of it, like when they were there was no such thing as time. So this is just like one potential reality that they're looking at right now that they could change if they want to do or something. It's hard to think of and imagine, and like it all gets confusing even to me. Like I don't claim to have all the answers, but what I can tell you, like is time travel real? Yes, it is. Obviously, I've experienced it, and a lot of it. You have too, apparently, because you're part of Montauk. But like, is it easy to understand and simple? No, it's not. Even the engineers at Montauk that were very intelligent and knew a lot of the ins and outs of it would tell you it's complicated. And of course it is. Going back in time and meeting yourself and stuff, all that shit's very possible and very real. And yeah, it's fucking complicated, because then, like, let's say you go back in time and you meet yourself. And you say, yeah, this is what happened. I'm with so-and-so now or whatever. Well, that's going to change their way they act, what they do, how they perceive their lives. And they're 100% guaranteed not going to have the same future as you. You're guaranteed to change the future. So in that moment, you're really just going to a potential alternate reality and then stepping into it and becoming a product of that reality. And so it's like a spider web that, I don't know, it's confusing. Like it just keeps going out. And I am a proponent for the multiverse. Some people say, oh yeah, there's multiple universes, but there's only a few. I kind of think that the point of this computer that we're all in was for some sort of weird group to run probabilities. So that's why there's literally infinite possibilities, infinite realities, infinite timelines. It's because they're running every probability possible to figure something out. What that is, I don't know. But this is all a fucking experiment, and we're all lab rats. That's my opinion on it.
Right. And so I have an interesting question actually for you. And your opinion, I know there's no way to truly answer this factually, but there are those that are out there that say like the multi timelines that were all created and the schisms are being corrected into one timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So if that happens, do all of our alters come into one pure being, and then what happens to that being? Like,
so I altered out one day and I told my mom. It was kind of scared her, but she knows about Maw Talk and kind of was with me for this whole journey. She's at the very beginning. She was actually the one who recommended that I reach out and find other people that this happened to. And fuck my brain. What was I saying
about the people merging into one? And
oh yeah, I told her. I said in the future the timelines are going to merge and it's going to be insane. And so I was altered out, so can't go into this memory. But what I told her was that in the future the timelines are going to merge and it's going to get crazy, and spaceships are going to show up, and everyone's going to be here to witness this moment where the timelines merge. And I said something about how like I was a part of breaking the timeline, and I'm also a part of it coming back together, or something like that. And yeah, I remember telling her that. And like I said, I can't go into that memory. It's the memory of an alter telling her what's going on. But so with alters, even if all the timelines merge, that wouldn't merge your alters. There are alternate versions of you in alternate realities that are entirely separate from you. You're not the same person. They're different. Like they're technically you, but not. Like Rick and Morty explains it really well. Why do you think that show exists in the fucking first place? It's like one of many shows to help people understand these concepts. So when it comes to fruition, because they can try to slow down the floodgates, but that dam is going to break. Like there's nothing they can do to stop it. So they're doing damage control already. That's the predictive programming. It's not necessarily predictive programming. It's damage control. It's them getting us ready. Sometimes it is predictive programming. I do believe that's a real occult thing what they're doing. It's very, very real magic ritual that they're doing that we should be aware of and be vigilant of. But at the same time, a lot of the stuff, they're putting it in our media to help teenagers, young kids, and adults alike even, depending on what you're watching. Because, you know, they got the Marvel shows based on it, like, and everything too. But they're trying to get people to understand these concepts so that when the time does come, people get it. But yeah, Rick and Morty explains it well with the fact that like all the Ricks are different. Now, but if Rick had alters, there's two different versions of this. There's alters that they literally create through trauma, and it's just like a brand new clean slate basically that they program to whatever they want. And then there's another version of it called phoenixing, where they through a sodomizing ritual, and you have to be a child in order for it to work too. They pull in a version of you from an alternate reality to inhabit that body. They can do that, and that is a thing. Like, so that and sometimes the the cat agrees. And sometimes yeah, it's very confusing with the alters and everything, but the alternate versions of you in alternate realities are different, but they can phoenix them in and then use them for missions and use them for stuff. And they really like doing that because you might have certain abilities or something like that, but also when you go back to your life. And if you're someone like me who has his memories back and you're talking about an alternate reality. And this is something that I've really been pounding the drum on, sounding the alarm on, blowing the whistle on, is there are alternate realities in these programs. Yes, the secret space programs are real. The kids are being taken to Mars Defense Force in this reality, in this timeline. But what I want people to understand is that there are alternate realities and they're working with each other. And a really good way for them to confuse people and make intel compromised so that it's useless is by taking an asset from one reality. They have what are called bubble swap programs. Time bubbles will swap assets from one reality, okay, through a purple portal, through an alternate reality portal. They'll swap assets and they'll send them on a 20 and back or whatever. And then when it's done and they put them back into their normal lives, they swap them in realities again. So that all the intel that you come back with, that you remember if you are a compromised asset, because we're worth a lot of money to these people. This is their way that they found around assets getting their memories back is swap programs, making deals with other realities that are doing similar nefarious shit and have similar programs and similar assets that are basically fine-tuned to do exactly the same thing. They just make a little trade, a little switcheroo, then switch them around again. Nobody notices. Moving around the cup. What you know what I mean? Like, which cup it is it in? Which cup it is it in? That's the kind of shit they're doing with human fucking lives. It's not cool. It's fucked up. It's a violation of everything that's, the natural order. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not cool. I do not consent. Sorry, I get a little worked up sometimes. I should turn the light on.
I understand and I respect that, and and one of the things that I find interesting is, like we're talking about the disclosure and everything, is I started watching the Halo series because I was a fan of the video game.
Oh man, I gotta watch that. Everybody keeps talking about it. Let me just turn on my light real quick. I'm not gonna be able to hear it. It's gonna take 2 seconds. 1 second. All right, so the Halo series, you've been watching that.
The one thing that got me isn't even in the series itself. It's the intro. The opening theme is there's a guy just stands there and this black suit just starts forming over him. And I was like, that's the secret soldier suit. That's how it is. It's like a second skin. And all of a sudden he's like looking and it's forming this second skin layer, and then he gets the uniform of the Master Chief on it, and I was like, that's a super soldier.
Yeah.
I recognized the suit, and that was like what drew my attention, and everyone's like, yeah, that's a super soldier program. And it was like, yeah, and it's just interesting how it's not mainstream. It's like you have to have Paramount Plus to watch it. It's only there, and it's interesting how, like you're saying, Marvel is putting it out. It's only on Disney Plus, which I find highly irregular because Disney is corrupt unless they're cleaning that up.
No, they're not. Disney is so fucking connected to these programs, and it's so sick of a disgusting, fucked up rabbit hole to go down. Because I remember like the stuff like they'll show, like I remember like they showed us like cartoons of like Bugs Bunny fucking Michael Jordan and stuff like that, which is obviously Looney Tunes. That's not Disney, but like Looney Tunes is programming, Disney is programming as well, and they have underneath Disney World and stuff like that. A lot of these places they'll have they're doing child sex trafficking stuff, and they're wearing the suits and they're dressed up like Mickey Mouse, and they're you don't need to. I don't really need to go any deeper, but and it's disgusting. And I also remember just that Montauk, like we were a lot. They did let us watch TV sometimes, and it was always programming stuff to program us, stuff to or educational to help us understand something. Um, like Casper the Friendly Ghost was something that we watched, and I remember Preston Nichols explained to me as a young kid, I was a child, and he explained to me that it's exactly how it works, the afterlife. Like it's exactly how it works. Like if you have unfinished business, you can't pass on to the other side. Like yada yada yada. Like it's literally like a handbook on what the afterlife is actually like. And the ghosts, like maybe they look a little cartoonish or whatever, and it's obviously Hollywood. There's exaggeration and
Yeah.
shticks and fun thrown in it. Like they make it cartoony for kids, but it's quite literally how it works. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's a lot of other examples of that too, like stuff that they let us watch. But and I remember there was a room that they would bring you in, and um, it was full of those cathode big TVs,
Yeah, the
a bunch
cathode
of
ray tubes.
all over on the floor, and I think they had VHS players hooked up to them, and you could watch movies on them, and they all had different movies playing, and I never thought about that. Reptilians took space. Michael Jordan off planet as a slave. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And make them fight in a yeah. The whole thing is totally MK Ultra written all over it. Uh, but anyway, what was I saying, Michael? I was.
Oh, about Casper, the afterlife, and
Oh yeah,
shows.
yeah. Okay, so there's this room full of TVs, and I remember sometimes and it was like a reward. It was like a thing. Like if you did good, instead of getting thrown in the dog cage, they might throw you in this room full of TVs, and you could sit down by a TV and watch a movie. But the thing is, it was annoying because there's like 10 TVs on at the same time or something, and they're all really loud, and you could all hear them all over each other. And so part of the reason why I think that they did that is to help hyper focus our attention so that we wouldn't be distracted, to program our brains to not to be able to focus on something even if there's like explosions going off and da 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 da. Because it was like I remember like the first at first you couldn't even, it was like terrible. You're like I like can't even watch this movie. There's like, hear another movie right fucking next to me. But eventually you just were able to just totally tune it out and only listen to the movie that you're watching.
Right.
And yeah, I think that that's maybe part of the reason why they did that. But yeah, they did. They let us watch uh, like movies, and a lot of it was programming. A lot of it was to program us. There's something that has been talked about that I wish I had more information about. It's like Sleeping Beauty programming is one of the programs that they have, and like um, there's Peter Pan programming. There's um, like they have different characters and different codes that mean different things. Alice in Wonderland programming, um, and yeah, there's all sorts of programs or codes and stuff like that put into all those movies. Um,
Right. And one thing I wanted to say is, as I've been talking with some of the others that I talked to on the show, or some of the guests about the SSP, is the one thing that's different now, in my opinion, that I've been picking up on and feeling is a lot of us that were in the programs are breaking free and turning around, and instead of going into like hiding and being like, hey, I want to get away from this and get free, is they're turning around, and from what I've got a sense of, and saying, you know what, you put us through hell, we're coming for you, we're taking the fight back to you,
yeah,
this end.
that is how I feel, especially that altar I have. Um, I mean, I literally after I got those memories back, I was kind of scared for my life, and oddly enough, when I told, oh yeah, another thing I haven't talked about this before. when I started getting those memories back and I started talking to Kat about them, a giant fucking ship showed up in the sky. It was cloaked. You couldn't see it, but I could sense it. I instantly felt the dread from it. As soon as I was talking about it, and it followed us, and we went into the redwood forest, and it's kind of hard for, those trees and stuff are so tall. It's kind of hard for them to even get a good look at us, I think. And when we got out, I think they left us alone. I don't know what that was all about, but as soon as I started talking about it, I could just sense that there was like this ship above me. I couldn't see it or anything, but like I knew it was there. They can cloak. Like obviously, if people don't know about it, you know about it now. They can cloak. Like that's a thing that exists. It's not that wild even to think about. Like literally, all you have to do is have like basically like the equivalent of a TV type surface on the bottom of the ship that blends in with what's ever behind it, and that's as simple as it's.
Right.
It's actually not that complicated.
It's almost like the TV show V, when the ship arrived and it was like all of a sudden like a screen appears and she starts talking to the people from the bottom of the ship.
Yeah, that's another show that I haven't watched. V.
That was the new version. It wasn't in the original from I think it was 80s.
Yeah, one thing that I remember too some old thing that I still have been trying to find forever is like there was this cartoon that I remember getting a VHS of at a rummage sale, a yard sale, near my grandma's house growing up, and it was called like Xenon 2038 or something like that, and it was a show about reptilians and humans fighting in a war in the future, and they look just like the Draco and stuff. And I've tried to find that video, that what a cartoon like on the internet, like can't find it anywhere. But it was like so. That show gave me nightmares. You're talking about the Xenon show?
V.
V. Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the show, but yeah, they're definitely showing us a lot of real stuff in these programs. And you ever think about that too? Like, I know it sounds like silly, but also at the same time, like, think about it, like a television program. They literally call this stuff programs, like,
yeah,
because they're programming you, like,
I actually have a good one for you. Is I stumbled on it on Amazon and bought it because I thought it was so funny. But in the 80s, there was a cartoon called Space Force. Or Space, I think it was the United States Space Force. And it was about them having ships and going on missions. And I was like, wait a minute, how did we have a cartoon about Space Force and I never heard about this?
That's wild. I'd like to see that.
Yeah. So we're getting close to an hour and a half, and I don't know if you have much time left or if you got to run and do anything.
Not really. I'm good. I would like to talk about the conference that's coming up a little bit.
Right. Before we get to that, I'm curious your thoughts on Iron Bear 78's asking me or you, have you had a classroom setting dream where you're getting drilled with math flashcards over and over, also drilling history lessons?
No. My dream of, so I'm sure they do that kind of stuff, but the recall that I got of that is I was in like rock and roll, huh? I'm gonna put that in my tab real quick here. And roll. Okay. Fantasy sci-fi. Interesting. Okay, anyway, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
If we had math flashcards.
Oh, okay, the math flashcards. I don't remember that. I remember the Zener cards. I'm sure they did that, just to test our, our intelligence and our. They probably maybe even did that before the Zener cards and stuff. My memory's not so clear, but yeah, I remember more being tested on my psychic abilities and stuff like that. And I remember being in like a lecture hall, which I think was on the moon. Maybe it was somewhere on Earth, but something tells me it was on the moon. And it was like this lecture hall type room. And this is the one of the first memories that I got back, like hardcore. It was through a dream. And the guy on the podium is telling me I'm to the left, and there's this little girl to the right who is I'm thinking is my trauma twin, but they blurred out her face. But he's standing there and he's telling me, "Okay, so you've learned how to use your abilities, and we're satisfied. You've passed the tests. Now we're going to send you off to learn your how to use those abilities in combat." And so that's them sending me to Mars. I know enough now to understand that. Like that was them sending me off to Mars to learn how to use my abilities in combat. So yeah, and I have a lot of dreams about being in a school that is also a prison, or being in a prison, or I'm going to jail for some reason, or I'm in this weird school setting. I have a lot of dreams like that. Um, and I think some of them might be cover memories for when I wake up in the on the other side, where I have a clone and they have underground, like they have a bunch of clones us underground. It's kind of like the movie Us, and we're just workers. We work and we do stuff, and we're automatons. Where we don't really we're not very intelligent, but we exist and we do matter, and our lives do matter. But yeah, we're like I've talked about this before in quite a few interviews. My first memory of the underground facility, and it's fucked up, man. What they're doing down there, it's not cool. Like Donald Marshall talks about this kind of stuff. I don't think I'm being sent to the same. Yeah, the Victorian type buildings, that's common. A lot of off-world colonies have a very Victorian vibe still, like steampunk almost. So I'm just answering the comments here, but God, the comments are great, but I'm so ADD that as soon as I answer the question, I forget about what I'm talking about.
You were sharing your first memory of being school type.
Yeah. Okay. I think I more or less finished that thought. Then yeah, like I do remember that, and oh yeah. Okay. Now I remember what I was going to say. Willem Dafoe. I'm from Appleton, Wisconsin. So Willem Dafoe is also asset, an op, whatever the fuck you want to call it. He's in these programs too, and I know this because he has an automaton clone working in one of the underground facilities, and it's messed up, man. Like they have red rooms where they torture people, or basically there's like you can pay to be in a room with anybody you want in this what they call these red rooms, and you can literally do whatever you want. You can just hang out with the person and talk to them. You can rape them. You can rape them and kill them. Most people, since to get their money's worth, they rape them and kill them. That's the most common thing that I see, and then they cut them up and stuff like that. It's very fucked up, dude. And I've had to clean up like the blood on the table and the fingers and stuff like that, and it's gross, not cool. But basically, like these automaton versions, which Journey to Truth did a whole seminar thing on clones that you could probably still find in their Rumble, and they explained the automatons. And I liked it because it was like verification of my testimony to me. It was like it's basically like they can program you to be like just like to do a task. Like for instance, the automaton clone that I have, he's a janitor, which works well because I've been a janitor in a real life. For years I've been a janitor. Not one right now, but it's something that I've done multiple times throughout my life. And yeah, I'm a janitor down there, and I clean everything up. And well, Willem Dafoe has an alter named David, who also is down there. And one day we were cleaning, and we were in this room, very prison-like, weird room, and he puts the garbage bin on the table so the camera can't see us, and he's basically snapping his fingers in my face. He's going, "Kid, wake up, kid. Are you fucking in there? Wake up. Kid, wake up." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in here. What's up?" And he's like, "Hey, is the other you still up there? Is he still in Appleton? And I'm like, yeah, why? He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, kid? Get the fuck out of there. This is literally why I left Appleton, is this whole thing. He's like, you need to get out of there. That place is built up to keep you down. He literally repeated himself. It's built up to keep you down, kid. He calls me kid, too. And he was like, do you think that I would have became a famous actor if I would have stayed in fucking Appleton, Wisconsin? He's like, that place fucking sucks, dude. It's built to keep you down. It's built to keep you miserable. You need to fucking leave. Don't walk, run. I'm risking a lot by telling you this, kid. I could get in a lot of trouble. He's like, I care about you, kid. Get the fuck out of there. And then he put down the garbage can and just went back to work. And he was like, I knew exactly what time it was. Like, shut the fuck up. We can't get caught. And then, because I talked about it in an interview, after the interview, when I woke up in the underground facility, they took me to a room and Willem was in there, and they strapped me to a chair and made me watch them pull out every teeth out of his mouth one by one for talking to me. That was how they punished him. And I had to watch. They forced me to watch. So this is what we're dealing with, people. This is why I'm public. Not to gain followers on a YouTube channel and gain notoriety and make money. It's because they're psychopaths who are criminals doing absolutely unfathomably evil things, and they need to fucking be stopped. That's why I'm public.
And with that being said, you have a conference coming up.
Yeah, it's the kind of, there's a lot of people speaking at it. It's been in the works for a while now. It's the 2024 Full Disclosure Now conference. It's going to be July 15th through 18th at the Serrata Beach Resort in St. Pete, Florida. The regular old passes are $420, and there's also VIP passes that people can buy, which are extremely limited, where there's going to be a private dinner that we're going to be having. The tickets are $420, like I said, and the room at the Serrata, the rooms at the Serrata are they're like about $200 a night, I think, is what I heard from other people. I know that's not in everybody's price range, but it was a lot of different factors into why we chose this hotel. To make it, in a lot of ways, it was more convenient for people than any cheaper option that we could find, just logistically where it was located and everything else. So we did our best, made it as cheap as possible. Obviously, these things cost money, but it's going to be great. I mean, it's obviously multiple days long event, and we've got so many speakers: Yimei Janae, Penny Bradley, Carrie Cassidy, Tony Rodriguez, Miles Johnston, Laura Eisenhower, Jessica Jones, Misa Johnsons, Brooks Agnew, Daryl James, Matthew Mornian, Nancy Thames, me, of course, Chris O'Connor, Shannon Leshner, Drago Reed, Jerry Yusko. The list goes on. There's more people. But yeah, and then Brian Singh, the co-host of Disclosure Now, he's going to be hosting it, kind of the host MC of the event. And yeah, there's been a lot of wild stuff going on with this event. We were originally planning it with James Ring. I wasn't there. Some sort of meltdown, blowout happened, and James is really upset with Brian. Other people are saying Brian's a CIA agent and stuff. It's absolutely wild to me. If Brian's a CIA agent, it's news to me. I literally live with the guy. But yeah, I don't understand how. I'm just gonna point this out because Jack Flynn, you called up my homie, so I'm gonna call you out. All right, Jack Flynn is the Tim Seabury, and I think his testimony is great. He seems to, like, I believe him 100%, but like in this most recent interview, like just in the middle of nowhere, he's called Brian a CIA agent, and I'm just kind of curious what some sort of CIA agent that is trying to sabotage our movement gets out of planning disclose, like the first, basically, like, obviously there's been stuff that's kind of centered around this, Journey to Truth has done some great work there, but like, why would somebody who's a CIA agent bring together all these speakers and all these great people under one roof and like be doing all this work to blow the lid. I just don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. Anything's possible, man, but I have been very, very fucking duped if that's the case, because all I've seen is a stand-up guy who is doing his best to help this community and get the word out about these programs. That's what I see. So, but yeah, it sucks because I'm not trying to call out Jack, because like I said, his testimony is great. It's more or less that I'm just going to publicly refute what he's saying and publicly address it, and I'm sure Brian's more than happy to as well. I just don't see what the CIA, who is trying to stop us getting this information out there, would get out of but throwing a giant conference featuring this stuff and have their agent co-hosting a YouTube channel where they talk about Black Ops projects and Montauk and everything else. And I'm not saying there hasn't ever been information that's wrong on my channel. I'm not saying that I haven't ever shared a screen memory is real or been wrong about something or something like that. But 90% of the information that we present is factual, at least. We do a pretty good job of vetting it, and nobody's perfect, obviously, but I think I can speak for both of us when we're just trying to just get the truth out there. What's going on is wrong. What's going on is bad. Humanity deserves to be intelligent. It deserves to have wisdom and be enlightened and be educated on the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the average person doesn't know their surroundings. They don't know what the underground infrastructure. They don't know how things actually work. That's the bare minimum of what people deserve, is knowing what's going on their own fucking planet, knowing what the real infrastructure, how things actually work. It's very simple what we want. It sounds complicated, and it is. It's a big ask. There's a lot of ins and outs. A lot of things need to happen to get there. But at the same time, it is not that complicated. It is very simple. We want human sovereignty and human freedom. And not just human, all across the board, if possible. I mean, ET life, animal life, what have you. We want life to be respected. And I know it's hard because, one of the things that the reptilians say, and I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers on either side of this debate, but one of the things that the reptilians kind of, they don't say, I shouldn't say, but I think it's part of their logic and why they don't give a fuck about eating us and stuff. They eat humans, alive even. They're like, oh, you do it to pigs, you do it to chickens, yada yada. So obviously, like, what's the difference? You know what I mean? So I don't know where it starts and begins with this. I'm not saying everyone should become vegan, but what I am saying is things are complicated. It's not simple. I don't know what I was trying to say with that, other than that's kind of how they justify it, is that we do it to lesser species. And regardless of, like, I eat meat, obviously, like, but we do need to respect, like, human, like, life. Like, I think factory farms are an abomination and stuff like that. Like, I think eating meat is a natural thing. Obviously, we've been doing it 1,000 years, like hunting and stuff like that. Like, that's natural. But the way we have things now, it's very messed up. I'm going on a tangent a little bit, but I think you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Right, I do. And one thing I want to add from talking with Brian about the conference is, if by chance you cannot make it, he said there's going to be a virtual option where you can still watch.
I know he's figuring out the details with that. So what it is he needs to hire, like, somebody who that is their job, and they're handling the live stream and making sure everything's running smoothly, because obviously all the speakers and him and everybody else is going to be busy. So he's currently, unless things have changed, last time I checked, he's on the hunt for, like, the person to do that. And then as soon as they have all their ducks in the row and have it all ironed out, there'll be a link on the website for the virtual passes, which I believe will be $100. Don't quote me on that, but I believe they're going to be around $100.
Right. I just wanted to mention that because some people may be saying, well, I can't get to Florida at that time frame, so I guess I won't catch it. And going, no, you can still catch it. You can watch it virtually.
Yeah, live streams are great for that. Yeah, you can just check out the whole thing and eat popcorn in your pajamas. It's not too bad, right? And yeah, I also just want to say too, with the whole thing with James, like, he's talking very bad about Drago, who's speaking at this conference, and about Brian, and if he ends up seeing this, or anyone who is a fan of his ends up seeing this, I just remember Montauk. I remember when Brian and James um, planned this beautiful trip together where all these different survivors got to come together, and it was amazing. And what I saw was what I was hoping to be a lifelong friendship. And look, man, I'm not saying who's wrong or right. Maybe both were in the wrong in some ways, and there was just a communication breakdown. I was not physically present for it, okay? But what I am saying is it's disappointing, and I hope someday James can get his head out of his ass and see that he can't just blacklist everybody who talks to Brian, that's not a way a professional individual conducts themselves, and it makes him look bad. I'm trying to help him by saying this, and it makes all of us look bad to be acting this way. It's sad to me that a private argument and disagreement between two people had to become public like this, because it makes us all look bad. It makes us all look bad, and we're already all over the place and not on the same page, So it's very disappointing. But I have faith. I have hope. I have faith that I'll see James again, and I'll be able to give him a hug, and that eventually this will all iron out. But for now, I kind of can't. I kind of have to distance myself because of the way he's acting. But yeah, and I hate being put like, so you're on Brian's side. I've had this happen to me with people. So you haven't taken side. Look, man, I live with Brian. He co-hosts my show with me. He planned this whole conference out. Like, he's my friend. Like, I just don't understand how I'm supposed to just turn my back on my friend because he got in an argument with James. Even if he was wrong, even if Brian was being a huge asshole and it's all his fault, which I'm not saying is the case, but even if hypothetically, if it was, I still would not want to totally. People are human beings and sometimes do shitty things. You know what I mean? And make mistakes. So
we're not perfect.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of that going on in this community where people are. My advice to you is when you're being asked to take sides, maybe don't. I don't know. Sometimes it's important. There are lines you need to draw in the sand. I do think there are people spreading disinformation, like Corey Good and Alana Denon and stuff like that. And sorry, that might fuck with my future prospects for throwing that out there publicly. But no, the Anunnaki aren't coming to save us all. They're the people who put us in this mess the first place. You expect me to go along with that? You got another thing coming to you. I'm not going along with that. And that's not me trying to be combative. I'm trying my best to be on the same page with people and get along with people. I'm all about collaborative testimony, but that's the thing is, everyone I'm talking to, that's not collaborative. That's not reality. That's not what's happening. The Anunnaki, you're not going to come down from the sky and make everything better. Admittedly, I haven't really looked deeply into Alana Denon, but it just doesn't look that good from afar to me. But hey, as the Journey to Truth guys say, and I'm 100% on board with you, got to use your own discernment and decide for yourself. Don't listen to me telling you who's real and who's not. Figure it out yourself. Because if you watch enough people, you'll be like, wow, that sounds really similar to so-and-so. And a lot of times you realize we're not even friends. We don't even talk. We're not even in the same circle. Some of these SSP people are saying the same thing. Something really profound to me is Yame Janae, who is actually going to be speaking at the Full Disclosure Now conference. And I think this is brilliant. I think this is amazing. She's the one who, the remote viewing guys, their crowd, the Farsight Institute with Courtney Brown and Yame Janae and all, their whole crew, their whole team, they were kind of separate from the SSV sphere for a long time. We weren't on the same, it was two groups in separate places. And something that they did that was absolutely beautiful, absolutely brilliant, that I have so much respect for, and I think it's causing waves and is a positive. With all these fizzling out between people and all these disagreements, well, at least we have the Farsight Institute came on board and remote viewed Tony Roderick's testimony. And what did they find? It's all real. They verified it through scientifically accurate remote viewing. And I think it's awesome, and I got to highlight this, that Yame and Tony are going to be in the same room at this event, and I think it's very highly likely that they'll maybe end up being on the stage at the same time and kind of talk about that. But that was a huge step forward for our community, for the Secret Space Program, time travel project whistleblowers that are out here doing the work. Is Courtney Brown coming through and imperatively doing the research through remote viewing and finding that we are presenting accurate testimony, accurate information that's based in reality. I mean, that's huge. And I hope to see more of that in the future where communities that are apart can collide. And it's a frustrating thing for me to have to put my foot down and point at so and so and say, hey, fuck this guy. Like, for instance, Shane Bales. I haven't mentioned him for a long time. That was a whole thing that happened. But sometimes you got to do it. But I try to avoid who I don't resonate with and focusing on that and try to more focus on who I'm resonating with. Who do I resonate with? Like Michael, I resonate with you. So when you ask me to come on your show, I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? And like, it's the same thing with like, people will be potential guests on my show or whatever. Like, why focus on the people that you don't get along with, that you disagree with, and like make a whole video roasting them? Like I said, I did that with the Runer when I was young and like newer to this, and I realized now how much of a waste of time it is. It's a waste of time to focus all your energy on hating on other people, and that's unfortunately sort of what James is doing right now. Like this, I feel sorry for him because it was kind of his idea for the conference, but a lot of people were working on it, and all the people that were working on it decided to get rid of him, and I wasn't there, and if it were him, I'd take it on the chin and move on and not try to attack everybody that's associated with this conference. I don't think that's good for anyone. I think it makes us look bad. And I feel so bad because I don't like talking. It doesn't make me feel good talking bad about James. You know how much research that guy has done? You know how much work that guy has done? He works his ass off for this community. He's been doing this since 2012. Like, we would not even probably be here right now having this conversation if it weren't for James Ring. And that's why it's sad, is because, yeah, he totally does deserve all this respect and all that stuff. But at the same time, you can't. It doesn't mean that you can draw lines in the sand and say, "Hey, if you associate with this person that's your friend, I'm not going to talk to you." I don't think that's fair. But I should focus less on that. I'm violating my own advice by continuing to talk about James. I wish him the best, and I hope that eventually, hey, man, it's crazy to say it now, but maybe someday him and Brian will be able to be friends again. Maybe not, but that would be great. I would love to see that because, like I said, that Montauk trip was great, and I kind of can't. It's kind of hard for me to fathom this reality where they're like enemies, like because they were such good friends, and that trip was so beautiful. The whole documentary came out of it. It was a really powerful moment in our the SSP history, the whistleblower testimony, and everything getting out there. It was such a huge thing.
Yeah. And one thing I like to say to people is when they're like feeling down and like, there's nothing to look up to, is to go, there's always hope. There's always hope that it'll get better. Things will mend. And, just hold on to the hope. If anything else, just keep the hope.
Yeah, and I definitely do have hope. Um, I think that kind of one of the things that I'm going to be doing moving forward is just staying in my lane, so to speak, and just focusing on, like I said, the people I resonate with. And unfortunately, to the people who might follow your channel and also my channel, I've slowed down so much because of just I had to get an apartment, and now I'm looking for a job, and disclosure doesn't necessarily pay the bills for me, at least not yet. I know that's a possible future, but yeah, so I've had to focus on all that, and so I haven't even had the time to make videos and stuff like that. And then on top of it, you have all this drama and all these people arguing and all this infighting, and like I've gotten to the point where I like almost like don't want to engage anymore, and I just want to go out and live my normal life and just say fuck the whole thing. But at the same time, I understand I get messages every day from people who are activating, who are remembering things, and they kind of need me. Like people kind of need me, which is nice to be needed, but also it's a huge responsibility. But yeah, it's kind of like I can't just stop. I sometimes wish I could. I can understand why I buried this for so long. Because sometimes I think about it's like I got to have a normal 20s. My childhood was fucked up, but I was able to bury things enough from my 20s where I was able to actually kind of have a normal 20s. But now I'm in my 30s and I remember everything, and things are weird. And I'm kind of thankful for that buffer period of normalcy. Because one thing that's interesting too, and I've been talking about this, and I haven't really heard other people talk about it, is us kids at Montauk we knew about kids on the outside world and we were jealous of them and we envied them. Like, even though we were telepathic, we would speak in English to talk to each other in English because we wanted to be like normal kids. And we envied normal kids who didn't have abilities, believe it or not. We envied them because they got to go to school and go to the movie theater and eat macaroni and cheese and go to drive-throughs and eat cheeseburgers and stuff. You know what I mean? Whereas meanwhile we're like literally in hell, basically,
Yeah.
right?
I had days where I would sit there and I don't know why, but I would be saying, I wish I could be normal. And then it's like it passes and you realize, I'm grateful I'm not normal.
Yeah.
But there are days, I will admit, there are days that I'm like, why can't I be normal?
Yeah, and I get that sometimes too. Like I've had situations where I've lost friends, people I've weirded people out with my testimony or like by just opening up to them too much, and it can be stressful. And even just this whole thing going out in the normal world and getting a normal person job, like, believe me, as somebody who has literally stepped through portals to other realities, it's fucking weird to go to like a job interview and act like I give a shit about it. It's weird. Believe me, it's bizarre, but I have to do it in order to survive. I have a apartment that I have to pay bills for, so that's life.
Yeah,
I'm not afraid of work. It's just weird. Like, the work that I'm used to doing is like has to do with time travel and portals and all this wild shit and being in the military, and then I just do like cleaning hotel rooms. I know it's wild, right? Like, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Every single job is important. Every little mundane thing that needs to be done is important because society, it needs all the little bits and pieces to work right. So I don't think anyone's job is not important. I think it's important for people to recognize and people to respect everyone, regardless of their employment, whether they're cleaning toilets or the CEO of some company. Actually, I respect someone cleaning toilets more than the CEO, but that's just me. But yeah, uh, it was a great talking to you. I'm sorry if I ranted a lot, but it seems like people kind of like that. Obviously, like, this is a lot for me, like the stuff I go through. So when I do get the opportunity to talk, it's almost like therapy to be able to just vent and talk about it. So I appreciate you giving me an outlet to do that, and it's glad that it apparently makes an impact. I'm glad that it apparently makes an impact on other people and helps other people. That's good.
yeah, and I'm grateful that still, we resonate together and that you're still comfortable enough to come on and share stuff that you normally don't share. And so
Anytime, man.
I'm
Anytime.
grateful for that. And there are more questions in the chat room, but we are running
Well,
out of time.
we can answer a few questions if you want.
Well, we're getting close to 2 hours, and to be honest, I rarely do 2 hours sitting, and my back is starting to
Okay. Well,
change.
okay. Yeah. Let's get going then, and I'll have to do a Q&A in the future or something like that. But yeah,
Yeah,
I appreciate everybody's comments. Some really good questions and just like added information and stuff, like with the Space Jam comments and stuff. That was really interesting. Really good to point that out. But yeah, man, thanks for having me. I guess I'll get going.
yeah,
And yeah,
and
check out this conference, everybody. The website is fulldisclosuremovement.org, all one word, obviously, and it's pretty simple to get there. I know the day of being coincides with it, which is going to be before the conference, the weekend before. So it's kind of just like a lot of people are going to be in that area at the same time. St. Petersburg, I've never been there, but I hear it's just really beautiful and stuff. So it's like one of the cooler cities in Florida. So just really excited about it, to be honest with you.
yeah, I'm excited too, and looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to in the future when we can do another show together and see about making it a trifecta.
Yeah, episode 3 is coming down the pipeline. Let's do it sometime this summer.
Definitely, we'll definitely talk and make that happen. And so Thank you to everyone in the chat room. Thank you to everyone watching.
And if you want more information or more testimony from me, check out the Disclosure Now channel on YouTube, youtube.com/disclosure known. And have a nice day, everybody. I'm going to get going. Thank you for having me, Michael.
Yes, thank you. And all your links are in the description. So.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening, everybody. Or if you're watching this in the future, whatever time it is that you're at, I hope you're enjoying it. And see you later, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night, everyone.